Robattler Ultra is a digital board game where players balance resource management and turn-based combat with roguelike elements. Players take on the role of a rookie robot battler, or Robattler, aiming to become the Robattler champion amongst their competition. Objectives of the game include amassing enough fame to become champion, knocking out your enemies, not getting knocked out yourself, and creating the best Robattler team to be able to accomplish all of these objectives. A player's fame represents their popularity in the world of Robattler Ultra and will raise or lower due to what takes place within the game. Players with a higher fame are not only closer to their goal, but are allowed access to stronger items and can earn more money. When fame drops, players lose access to these perks of stardom. Players can raise their fame by doing battle with each other, but risk lowering their fame if any of their robots are destroyed, among other means of raising and lowering fame. Antagonizing forces of Robattler Ultra are other players aiming to become the champion and the game board itself. Gameplay is divided between two modes, board mode and battle mode. The majority of the game takes place in board mode, where players have a top-down view of the board. Players start the game by choosing their first robot type, then rolling die to calculate their starting fame. After this, players roll to move around the board like any other board game. Different spaces on the board will alter the state of the game, such as adding or subtracting resources, or even forcing the player into battle mode with generated enemies. Specific spaces on the board will even represent locations within the world of Robattler Ultra, acting as a shop where the player can buy and sell robots, weapons, and items. Whenever players are on an adjacent space or pass one another on the board, the game switches to battle mode. Combat in Robattler Ultra is turn-based, where players choose the attack and target of each of their robots, with each battle only lasting a small number of rounds. While destroying your opponent's robot is definitely a goal, the length of combat is not defined by wiping out your opponent. This helps to keep the players focused on managing their resources like money, fame, and their team more than on combat. Robots will come in different types with various strengths and weaknesses, such as always attacking first or being able to attack two targets while suffering from a lower attack power. The player can customize the attacks available to each robot by equipping them with weapons purchased at location spaces or earned by other means. Players can also use items inside and outside of combat, but this is limited to only one item per turn of that player during board mode and one item per player in battle mode. Similar games are Game of Dice and Pokemon Duel, where players compete head-to-head or against an AI to earn the resources necessary to strengthen their characters for the next battle. Robattler Ultra differs chiefly by making all of this occur within the game board, while putting less of a time constraint on player action. The combat in Robattler Ultra is heavily focused off of the JRPG genre, and will play similarly to most games within the genre. The biggest risk of Robattler Ultra is balancing the two modes of play both individually and jointly. Combat is simple, with players choosing the attack and target of each robot on their team, but needs a novel strategy element to set it apart. Additionally, the combat needs to feel fair. Battles cannot feel too easy or too difficult for the player, despite the state of their resources, fame, or team. This requires balancing of each robot type, as well as limitations to combat and the player's team size. Making combat meld within the board game dynamic should only be limited by the quality of the board itself. This will require lots of playtesting to ensure resource distribution, the fame mechanic, and the board layout truly add to the experience. Once a basic formula is discovered, however, making alterations should prove easy, and could open up the possibility of numerous board layouts for players to choose from. I want to thank you for your time, and I sincerely hope you enjoyed my presentation of Robattler Ultra.